Thank you for joining me today. My name's Lori Boucher, and I'm one of the owners of Right at Home Personal Home Care Agency. I am also a certified Dementia Live coach, and I'm bringing to you today a virtual Dementia Live experience. Dementia Live is a program that was established by Educate to help um, caregivers for those with dementia to step into the shoes of someone with dementia and be able to increase our empathy, our understanding, our compassion for what they're going through. I'm offering this virtual training to those in our community and to family members of our clients so you can also experience this. We do offer live in-person dementia live courses in our office as well as within the community. And we'd be glad for you to reach out to us to see when one of those is scheduled where you might be able to be a part of one. We're going to go ahead and get started in just a moment with this virtual walkthrough. And at some point, I'll pause. You can pause the programming. There's just a few simple things around your house that I'll ask you to gather up. But the opportunity today is to give you a chance to kind of see, hear, and feel what your loved one or a community friend you may know that you're helping to care for is experiencing with dementia. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, that term dementia, that covers a lot of ground. It's actually a umbrella term for various types of conditions or diseases that impact the brain. Some are reversible and some are irreversible. Some terms that you've probably heard is Alzheimer's. I think you hear that one a lot. It's the Alzheimer's organization is great within our communities, and they help raise awareness and provide resources and so forth for dementia, Alzheimer's research. Great organization, but you've probably heard of Alzheimer's disease. There's actually hundreds of types of dementia. Now, a few that you may have been more recently hearing: vascular dementia, frontal lobe dementia. This would be recently, there's been a couple of actors in Hollywood that have been identified as having frontal lobe dementia. There's actually dementia that goes with Parkinson's disease too. Lewy body is one that you will commonly hear. My mom actually has Lewy body dementia. It comes with quite a few hallucinations in that particular disorder. Again, those that we just named are irreversible. These are diseases that are doing work on the brain and diminish the person's ability to interact in quite a few ways. So, why are we hearing so much about dementia? Is it just an epidemic? Is it something we're eating? What is it? Well, let's talk about baby boomers. So, baby boomers were born between 1946 and 1964, and it is the largest population growth or boom in America. If you think about that very youngest baby boomer, this year in 2025, that person is turning 61. So all of our baby boomers have now moved into senior adulthood. If you think about those oldest baby boomers, those folks are approaching 80. So we have one of the greatest population explosions in America now moving into being senior adults. In the news, they refer to it a lot as the silver tsunami because it is a wave coming at us in the healthcare system in particular. Right now, 5.3 million Americans are diagnosed with Alzheimer's. 10 million Americans if you include all those forms of dementia. When we think about the likelihood of being diagnosed with dementia, at age 65, it's 1 in 10. At age 85, it increases to 1 in 3. So you can see as that silver tsunami, those baby boomers approach these ages that we're approaching now, the likelihood of that large population group having to be diagnosed with dementia is very, very high. And so you have this large group of people sitting right in that group right now. Now, when we think about dementia, we kind of identify with memory loss and, oh, they're forgetful. And to those of us on the outside of dementia, it feels like that's where it begins. But actually, long before those memory losses are the identifying factor, there is work being done on the brain with these diseases. They are degenerative diseases for the brain. This is not natural aging. When someone has dementia, it's not a natural process, it is a disease process. When we think about some of our senses, for example, vision, and you think about the natural progression of aging with your vision, you think about your aging diminishing, you think of most senior adults have glasses, they need assistance with their vision. That's the natural part of aging with our vision. But with dementia, your field of view starts to change drastically with dementia. If you don't have dementia and you hold your hands out to each side of your head and you look straight forward, you can see your fingers, you can wiggle your fingers, you can see it. Your field of view is wider, particularly in that peripheral vision. But as dementia does its dirty work on the brain, that field of vision starts to narrow and people don't see out to the side. You'll often find someone with dementia can be easily startled if you step up to their side and either touch them or start talking to them because they may actually have no vision of you. They may not know who or where that touch or that sound might be coming from. When we think about the sense of hearing, the natural aging progression is that our hearing gets a little bit less as we age for most of us. But again, dementia is not natural aging. And the deficit of hearing is impacted even greater with dementia. So as you're hearing things and you have dementia, your brain can't separate sounds out. At any given moment, you might be involved in a conversation, and then there's other sounds going on around, and you can kind of separate and focus yourself into that conversation. But with dementia, all those sounds almost have the same equal value, and they fight for the person with dementia's attention. The sounds can become just garbled and distorted and meaningless. So think about giving someone with dementia instructions. All these sounds in the atmosphere could be competing for those instructions they're trying desperately to listen to. And tactile, or another word for touch, it is more compromised when we're talking about brains that are suffering through dementia. Now, natural progression of aging in our touch is that our hands become a little more rigid, and maybe arthritis is taking over some of the joints. But with dementia, again, it's not a natural progression of aging. Your brain is less able to feel what you touch. So you may have trouble picking up small things or fine motor skills. You may not be able to sense temperatures the way you used to. You can't feel hot as well as you feel cold, pick up things as easily. And again, this has to do with how your brain is perceiving that sense of touch through your skin. As we care for our loved ones that have dementia, It's very important that we have compassion and empathy for what they're going through. And as I mentioned previously, this demonstration through DementiaLive is created to help build that empathy and allow you to walk a few minutes in their shoes. So today, that's exactly what we are going to do. Now, if you were to come into my office, I would put you through a training session. We have one room in our office set up like a little apartment. There's objects in there that you would interact with. We'd give you some fancy goggles to put on that would narrow your field of view and darken your vision. We would put gloves on your hands to lessen your touch, to mimic that lack of feel that comes with dementia. And when we give you a set of earphones that play a very distractive series of noises that you need to listen to while you're trying to do some simple everyday task, including you'll be hearing those noises while I would be giving you instructions on some very simple things to do, things you've probably already done a million times this week. Since you're not in my class, in my live classes, I wanted to create this virtual class so that you get that experience. It's a taste. I'd still love to have you come into the office or to one of our community events. But here's how we're going to move forward so that you can have the same experience there right where you are today. Now, I've got a list here of some very simple things that we're going to use in this Dementia Live virtual experience. They should be things that you can gather up around your house. Sunglasses, a pair of gloves, it can be garden gloves, whatever you want to put on, a glass of water, tea, coffee, something that you can drink, a wallet or a purse with a wallet inside it, pad of paper, a pen, maybe some paper clips, sticky notes, a little notepad, a cell phone, and a magazine. Now, it may take you a few moments to gather those items up, but you do need all of them kind of on the desk in front of you. So if you want to pause this video for a few moments to do that, all you have to do is come back and hit unpause when you're ready to continue with the experience. So at this time, if you want to gather your supplies, just click the pause button. Now that you've gathered all your supplies, we're going to begin the virtual experience. I can't get to each of you with a set of headphones today. So what I'm going to do is play the background noise through my computer, and it'll play in this recording that you're listening to today. Now, I'm going to give you verbal instructions of some very simple things to do while you are hearing this background noise at the same time. Again, this is to mimic and give you the opportunity to experience how a brain on dementia is fighting to parse out or separate out different sounds that are coming at it. So in just a few moments, I'm going to start the sound and then I'll begin the instructions to you. Now, you might want to go ahead and put on your glasses, your sunglasses, and your gloves, and have your items all laid out in front of you. You're going to hear a series of beeps, and then you're going to hear some pretty distracting noises as I go ahead and give you instruction. So let's go ahead and get started. There's the beeping sound. Make sure you have your gloves and sunglasses on. So let's go ahead and get started today as we work through our Dementia Live virtual experience. This first task is going to be pretty simple. All I need you to do is go into your wallet and pull out your driver's license. And then I want you just to write down on that pad of paper your driver's license number and the expiration date of your driver's license. And that's a pretty easy thing to do. Now we're going to continue, and I want you to pull out our favorite friend, the cell phone. You probably send text messages regularly. So right now, just pick a friend, send a very short text message like, hi, or how are you? Just practice sending that message today. Again, something that's pretty easy to do. Now, I mentioned to you that I wanted you to have a magazine or a book in front of you. So pick up that magazine and turn to page 13. Once you get there, I just want you to read out loud the headline or the first line in the book. And it might be an advertisement easily, but just go ahead and read that out loud. Now, we've been doing quite a few things, but I hope you've at least gotten that driver's license things taken care of right now. And it might be a good time just to take a quick liquid break. Go ahead and take a sip of that water or whatever beverage you chose to sip on. We're not finished yet, but we've got a few more things to do. Now grab those sticky notes or the notepad that you've got, some little tiny notes. I'd like you to go ahead and pull off two of them and write on each one of those notepads a task that you plan to get done today. So two tasks that you plan to get done by end of day today. And then I want you to go ahead and put those in a prominent place or to stick them to your computer so you won't forget those. Now, we've all been doing math for a very long time now. So this is a simple math equation. If you want to take out a calculator or you can use the calculator on your phone, I want you to add 21 and 36 and then just subtract 12 and just note what that number was, what the answer to that was. Now, we also want to do a couple of things with that book or magazine. Wow, that was a big sound. I want you to take those paper clips and gather 5 pages and clip them together in that magazine. Now, on that pad of paper you've got, I want you to go ahead and write down 2 words that might represent some of the emotions that you could be feeling right now. Now, let's go ahead and pick up your license and put that back in your wallet. While you're down in your wallet or your purse, let's take out any bills or coins that you may have and put those out in front of you. You may also want to try to grab your keys. Wow. Silence is golden, right? That was a lot going on in that time. So let's talk a little bit about how you maybe felt during that activity. Here are some very common emotions. And let me preface this with identifying how you are feeling in this activity can help you identify how your loved one may be feeling at any given time during their interactions. Angry, bored, determined, inadequate, lost, scared, terrified, annoyed, confused, foolish, irritated, miserable, silly, worried, anxious, depressed, frustrated, lonely, overwhelmed, tense, worthless. Think about someone standing at a cashier and trying to dig coins out of a wallet or dollars, and that touch is just not there to feel the size of the coins or to perfectly pull up the right piece of currency. You could feel foolish or frustrated. These are all real emotions. And just because your loved one can't verbally express these emotions any longer, it doesn't mean they're not experiencing these emotions. And many times, the actions or the behaviors we may see exhibited in our loved one with dementia is an expression of these emotions. So, empathy, big word, big meaning. It's something that we must have as we work to care for those with dementia. They're not trying to do things to frustrate us. It's just the way their brain is working right now. You may be a person that is very naturally empathetic. You may be someone that needs to learn and practice being empathetic. Either way, it's a skill that you do want to have in your pocket as you care for your loved one with dementia. A few things to consider about that empathetic caregiver mode, being present and in the moment. My mom will tell me the same story 10 or 15 times, just right out of the gate. It's like the first thing I hear her say to me. I know today that's what we're going to hear all day long. It can be challenging, but it's important to be present and in the moment with someone that is experiencing dementia. Accepting the reality. I talk a lot about my mom because I love her dearly and my heart breaks for what she's going through. But she has tried to reckon with the fact that she lives in a group environment in memory care unit. And she has determined that she is away at college. She's about 17, and these are her teachers and her classmates. It's important for me to accept her reality. It's trying. She doesn't know who I am. She likes me. She doesn't know she has a daughter. She doesn't know my name. I don't regularly hear her call my name very often for the last probably 2.5 years. But accepting her reality is where I need to be. It's important for us to use words of encouragement. There's so many things that someone with dementia is not doing right in the way that they used to be able to do it. So when you can find places to encourage them, just pour it on. Touch and a hug goes an awful long way. Listen with interest. Practice mindfulness and self care. So let's hang out on that one for just a moment. Mindfulness is as much about assessing your mental state as anything else. When I'm going to be with my mom for a period of time, I have to prepare. I have to put things out of my way so that I can be in the moment with her and be prepared to listen to that story over and over again. And for all of you that are on this training that are family caregivers, self care is huge. If you're sick or tired or worn out, you won't be able to be as in the moment or empathetic as you want to. So let's remember the flight instructions, right? Put your oxygen on first before helping someone else. And you'll want to make sure that you are giving yourself plenty of self care. A few tips and techniques that myself and others have gathered over time. Eye contact. It's easy to be distracted with all the things that are moving around me while my mother's going through the story for the 15th time. But looking at her, there's a speech, a touch, a love that transmits through that eye contact. Um, Limiting the conversation to short, simple sentences is good. Um, think about maybe you're trying to help your loved one get ready for bed. So you could say, all right, I need you to go in and put your pajamas on, put your bedroom slippers on, brush your teeth, and comb your hair. That's 4 things. Instead, be a little bit closer. I would like you to put your pajamas on. That's 1 thing. Now, if you could put on your slippers, that's 1 thing. Now, if you could go in and brush your teeth, 1 thing. Now, if you could comb your hair, one thing. Breaking all of our conversations down into shorter, simpler sentences can really impact your interactions with your loved ones. This next one is extremely important and it can be very hard for me. Never ever argue. So, one of the things that I've realized my mom does is when she remembers my dad, which is not always that often, she remembers him in a very negative light that he's not around. He's not coming to see her. Well, the truth is, he passed away many years ago. And I don't want to argue with my mom about where he is or what's happening. Instead, I kind of drop down to where it says validate, join, and distract. And I'll say something to mom like, I can understand why you would be worried about him not being here. Um, it makes me concerned too. But while we're together, why don't we try doing some painting to pass the time? Just never argue. If it's they're 17, they're 17. Reminisce with them. Look for patterns, both that spur on positive interactions and some that spur on negative interactions. Be positive. There's a lot of self coaching going inside the mind and heart of the person with dementia that's negative. There's a cognition of what's happening to them, even if they can't vocalize it to us. So you be positive, smile. I think this last one is important too, to step back when necessary. So if you're just at that moment, you've hit the wall, you've heard that story this many times, you've cleaned them up this many times, you've answered that question this many times, maybe you need that moment to just step back. Slip back into the kitchen, keep a safe distance, but give yourself a moment to breathe and regroup because you will need it. I want to thank you for giving me your attention for just this little bit of time. And I hope that this presentation gives you an opportunity to feel just a few minutes of what um, life for someone with dementia may see, feel, and sound like. We do hold these live classes in our office as well as the community. We'd be glad to come into your community group or church and present for you. We've also made arrangements to partner with a new program that's offered through Medicare that provides free resources for folks with dementia. So, caregivers, family caregivers can have 24/7 access to professionals to assist them with advice and situations with their loved one that has dementia. The program also provides some free respite care for those with dementia. The organization we've partnered with is Pocket RN. And as I said, this is a program through Medicare and it's offering these free services. If you'd like to know more about that or like to see us about attending one of our live classes, please call us at our office right at home, 678 403 1636. Again, my name is Lori Boucher. I'm with Right at Home Personal Home Care, and I am a certified dementia life coach. I'm also a partner with you as a daughter, loving and caring for my mom with dementia. Thank you.